Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a great day. And above all else, that you're indeed looking after yourselves and one another, because that is what's most important. Ladies and gentlemen, before I get into the topic of another fantastic, entertaining, informative, insightful episode, maybe bit of a stretch with the insightful part, but I want to introduce back to the channel Mr. Ken Cheshire, old curmudgeon. How's it going?
Going well, Armando. It's good to be back with you.
It's good to have you back. Ladies and gentlemen, we always have a pre-chat before the taping, and man, did we have a hell of a pre-chat, but we won't go into that.
At least
Uh,
we didn't forget to make the video this time.
there you go. We remembered to press record, okay? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, sorry. One coffee and I'm screwed up. Now, we have a new album review to do for you today. Uh, Very interesting album from the band The Lemon Twigs. And yes, thank you for that. Ken, there you go. Now,
Dropping
just
today.
dropping today, May 8th. This is the band's seventh album. A little bit about the Lemon Twigs. They are a brother duo consisting of Brian and Michael D'Addario from Hicksville, Long Island, New York. They formed in 2014, and their style of music is considered rock and pop. And they recorded for such labels as Captured Tracks, 4AD, and most recently, Windspear Music. Now, with regards to the new album, it is called Look for Your Mind. It is their seventh release, self-produced. Both brothers did all instrumentation, engineering, and production and vocal delivery on the tracks. Album clocks in at a whopping massive 41 minutes and 12 seconds. Again, released through Windspear, 14 tracks in total, not very long. Most of these songs are like within the uh, 2 to 3 minute plus range. I think there's one or two that's even like a minute and a minute 52 seconds. Very short, to the point. I won't even go what I'm going to compare that to, but we won't even do that. It's not that kind of a show, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Now, before I give my opinion of this album and we discuss it, because I do have my opinions on it, Ken, how did you come across this band in term like on YouTube or
Last year, in 2025, I think it was uh, a feed on my Spotify account of new releases. Even though Lemon Twigs have released, this is their seventh album, have you said, they've released a lot of singles. And they dropped a double side single last year, and it was in that, check out new music feed or whatever. And I listened to, I kind of picked through. I saw Lemon Twigs. I'm going, well, that doesn't tell me anything. So I clicked on it. I really liked the song. And then I'm going, okay, the single has two songs. Let's do the second song. Wow, I really like that too. And it's very unusual for me to like um contemporary artists that are at least new to me, even though the band's been around since 2014. um Most of my album buying these days are uh, box sets and reissues and whatever. I'm just, you know
yeah.
part of being an old fart. But so when something grabs my attention, I really go down that rabbit hole, shall we say. Um,
Yeah.
and I've always been that way, but it just doesn't happen as often. And so checked into the band, listened to some of their um, stuff off their previous album, and right about that time, they announced, that they're going to release a new album in 2026. So I said, okay, well, based on what I've heard, I'm going to go ahead and pre-order it. So I pre-ordered it through the band's website and actually got it before release date. So we've been able to, enjoy it ahead of time. Um,
Mhm.
for me, there is just not a bad song on this album. I particularly I love a lot of music, but I
Hmm.
do love a lot of 60s pop, the
Okay.
jangly guitars,
Yeah.
the tight harmonies, all of that stuff,
Okay.
whether it be uh, famous bands, and there's a ton of one-hit wonders from the 60s I really like too.
Yeah.
And this just feels just like that. I feel like I'm listening to a 60s radio station.
I was going
It's
to ask you that question.
Yeah.
The question was, when you hear this album, give me, I was going to ask you, when you hear this album, what is the first descriptive word that comes to your mind when you hear this album?
Um, jingle, jingle pop, jingle
Yeah.
jangle.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
they're using all the instruments, the 12 string electric guitars and stuff like that that was very prominent with the Byrds and other bands, during the 60s.
Hmm.
They really managed to not only capture the sound, but even the song structures. Um, you know, for someone that didn't know, other than the crisp, clear, contemporary sound of the recordings, the production value, it would
Hmm.
be I think, easy for people to think that this was music from the 60s. Good music from the 60s, that is.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Listening to this album, there's some obvious styles and sounds. Um, so it's recognizable, but the songs yet are not derivative. The songs themselves, they do have. It's not like, okay, well, this is a copy of this. This is a copy of that. It's
Hmm.
got the flavor. It's got the sounds, the musicianship, but the songs still stand on their own. Um,
Yeah.
Whereas the sound may be derivative, the songs are not. And there's a lot of times when I'm listening to this album, there's some obvious comparisons that we'll make as we go through it.
Hmm.
But
So,
there are a lot
yeah.
of times that it's like I'm going, okay, this reminds me of, is it the Dave Clark Five or
Yeah. Yeah.
or whomever? And it's just got that. It just hits my ear that way that I really like.
So,
It's a happy album.
the way you're describing it to me is it's definitely music that is respecting the past, but definitely has its foot in the present.
Absolutely,
Okay. Okay.
absolutely, and it's the the songs are distinct from one another.
Okay. Well,
So
we can talk about that. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
okay,
what songs stand out for you? Because I mean, and also, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to put a link to the Bandcamp page for this album. There's a listening party for this album on May the 7th. That was on May the 7th, sorry. Uh, so if you weren't there, if you didn't listen to it, now you're going to have your chance.
yeah.
But what songs do stand out for you on this release? Because
Well, it's go ahead.
I'm
Sorry.
just going to say, for me, I'm definitely getting a Birds, Beatles-esque, Beach Boys vibe on this. Um, Definitely Birds. Like
Yes,
whether it's a Rickenbacker guitar,
yes.
which it probably is. I'm hearing Roger McGuinn all over the son of a bitch.
Mhm.
I
Yep,
really am. I
yep.
really am. I'm sorry, but okay. So yeah, what
Well,
songs stand out for you?
it's got a killer opener. It definitely has the Birds vibe in the opening, the title song, which
Yeah.
opens the album. Like I said, there's not a song on here I don't like.
Mhm.
Um, I just can't get over Losing You. It stands out to me. Fire and Gold. Um, the Mean to Me is a strong Beach Boys vibe. And
Yeah.
I can't remember which brother does the lead vocals, but he definitely has, a Brian Wilson tone to his voice.
Yeah, that's track 7 on the album. I
Yeah.
have, for Mean to Me, I have lush harmonies, Beach Boys vibe, sorry. Uh, Definite use of subtle harpsichord on
Yes.
this that I'm hearing. But yeah, okay. No,
And yeah,
I get
and
it.
and they follow that the song Bring You Down. It starts off with a really strong rockabilly style and then continues on with a hard, surf rock.
Hmm.
Again, another, nod to the Beach Boys. Um, the song Yeah, I Do for me has a really strong early Beatles feel, both in song structure and
Yeah,
in the music.
yeah,
Um, I really like the next song. It's called I Hurt You.
yeah.
It starts off with it's like, holy cow. It starts off with the introduction. It's like, this sounds like a Todd Rundgren song.
Hello, it's me. Yeah,
Yeah, and then
yeah, yeah.
it has um a strong feel of the Left Bank also. The Left Bank in the 60s recorded Walk Away Renee.
Okay,
Don't
okay.
walk away, Renee.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
is a very kind of a
mm,
Renaissance pop
yeah,
kind of feel to it.
yeah.
Uh, the
It's
song
interesting.
Joy really stands out.
Yeah,
It's very McCartney-esque. It starts off with just vocals and a nylon stringed acoustic guitar.
yeah.
It's like, okay, there's a little bit of yesterday here. And then
I'm
about
also,
halfway through it,
yeah,
strings come in, a
yeah.
string quartet comes in. And then after that, a nice little brass choir comes in. It's like, wow,
See,
that's
I'm also picking up a Simon and Garfunkel vibe on that too.
sure. Yes. With the acoustic guitar, absolutely.
Yeah,
Um,
feeling groovy. But
yeah.
anyway, but no, yeah, and just to go back to track 10, I Hurt You. We were talking about this before we started taping, ladies and gentlemen. You mentioned Todd Rundgren.
Mhm.
Because I mentioned Todd Rundgren, and the one track you went to was "I Hurt You," track number 10, and
That's
I'm
right.
thinking, yeah, I'm hearing this, and I'm thinking, somewhere, anywhere, 1972, and I'm thinking, hello, it's me. I won't sing it again,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. Catch our show at 9 o'clock. At the Starlight Ballroom here in Edmonton. It's wonderful, but we hit the notes, okay? Bad,
Yeah.
but we do hit the notes, okay?
And like you said, it's it's almost it's almost like a tribute album to those old songs,
Yeah,
but it's not an album of covers.
no.
They're and I'm looking forward to, checking out interviews and whatever with these two brothers
Hmm.
just to see um where they're coming from, why they're going down, this lane. I think probably for me, the weakest song, it's not a bad song, it's a great song,
Hmm.
is a song called Gather Round. Um,
Yeah, on
my
side one.
notes was it's like a Paul McCartney granny song.
Gather round. Yeah. Track 4. I have, yeah, power pop and Beatle-esque. I have in my
Yeah,
notes. Yeah. I made notes on various songs.
sure.
Excuse me. I didn't make notes on all the songs, but the the songs I made notes on were the title track, the lead off track, and I'll just go through them quickly. Again,
Hmm.
60s Birds vibe on guitar, definite Rickenbacker that's being used on that. Two or three, the one of the singles for the album, nice harmonies, very melodic.
Yeah.
Um, Nothing But You, again, definite 60s vibe. Gather Round, another Beatles-esque
Hmm.
uh, type of track. Just Can't Get Over You, Losing You. Great harmonies. They
Yeah.
can do harmonies
Yes.
like no one's business. I
Yeah.
mean, it's almost like breathing. It's like air. It's natural. It's like taking in a breath for them. They can
Hmm.
just come up with these rich harmonies between the two of them,
Hmm.
and it sounds like a choir almost. It does. Um, that's the benefit of multi-tracking your vocals, a la Queen or any band that wants to do that.
That's right.
But yeah, yeah, you do take a ride back to the 60s with this album, very much so. Not in a corny
Mm-mm.
covers album kind of way, but you do want to put on your flower, like your psychedelic shirt and just, have a
Yeah.
joint and trip out. You do.
Yeah.
Uh, Other songs that known for me are Mean to Me.
Hmm.
I Hurt You, definitely. I Hurt You, for me, I Hurt You, number track 10, is the standout track for me on this album.
Yeah.
You know, You're Still My Girls, another good one. Joy, again, nice acoustic guitar and strings, great use of clarinet, and wonderful Simon and Garfunkel vibe for me.
Mm-hmm.
And the last two tracks on the album, My Heart Is in Your My Heart Is in Your Hands Tonight. Sorry, Only Coffee. And the last track on the album, Your True Enemy. Uh, this is a interesting release. It's good. It's again paying homage to the past, but definitely has its foot in the present
Yeah.
with what's going on here. Um, yeah, this is a really good album. This is a For me, it's a breath of fresh air.
Yes. Me too.
Yeah. So
I would be interested in the okay. Obviously, this is our take on it
yeah.
because we've listened to a heck of a lot of music over the, from the last 50 years.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And so we pick up these sounds and influences and tones. I'd be really curious to hear what people, in their 20s that have that do not have the background in music, um, listening to music that we do, to see what their take is, because they would not, unless they had parents or someone in the family that introduced them to music early on in history,
Yeah.
um, just to see. But one thing that surprised me, um, was reading that the two brothers, let's say, they wrote, produced, engineered, and mixed all themselves. And um, and on all four of those points, I think they did an A+ job
They
on
did.
this.
They did.
But they played all the basic instruments on this. Now, they did bring in the string players and the flute players and the brass players and whatever, but the primary instruments, and it's primarily a guitar driven album. There's not a lot of keyboards in here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
guitar driven, the 12 string birds pop sound. And and that really has impressed me about these guys.
Hmm.
Um, because let's face it, there's not a whole lot of musicians these days that do that. You look at stuff that's released on, pop radio now, and there's, you know, 7 to 11 songwriters attributed to it, and each album has 14 producers, and it's,
I'm not even gonna go there.
no, but
You know,
and these are, yeah, and two boys from Hicksville, Long Island. They definitely don't sound like Long Island to me.
mm,
If anything, you would think that they were British. Not
yeah,
that you hear that twang in their voice, but
no,
within their influence and style.
no, it's true. And I mean, it's funny because you mentioned about listening to a lot of music. When you do chat, when you do episodes like this, and you listen to a lot of different music over, you do kind of, and when you listen to something new, and again, I'm going on record as stating we are not music experts whatsoever. Okay, I will never, ever claim to be a music expert.
Right.
What I'm trying to say very ineloquently is when you do these episodes of new music and new albums to talk about, and new bands to talk about, relatively new bands, when you listen to an album of new music, you're you're always trying to find an anchor, a reference point to sort of compare this music to sort of give the audience watching a point of reference to say, okay, this sounds like, think of Tom Petty, think of Springsteen when you listen to this or
Yeah.
whatever. Do you know what I mean? That kind of feel. So, or vibe. So that's when I say that, that's what I mean. It's not that we're experts. Ken's got the background in music. I don't. But even with this album, even with the songs on it, like even if you're not a fan of the music, you have to admire the fact that all of the work that went into this between the two brothers. I mean, I'm like, this is a lot, okay? Like,
Yeah.
to do. And for an album to have 14 tracks
Mhm.
these days
Yeah.
is an anomaly because usually an album's got 10, 9 tracks at the most, or, you know, um,
And
but
that doesn't include the four singles they released over the last 8 months that aren't on this album.
that's right. You're saying they're more of a singles band
Yeah.
and that you knew of them. See, I'm not familiar with their music prior to this. So this is basically a new music discovery for me,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So, but yeah, I mean,
It's
this is a really interesting collection of
yeah.
songs, a melting pot of styles that go here. I hear the Byrds, I hear the Beatles, I hear Simon and Garfunkel, I hear Todd Rundgren, I hear a bit of Tom Petty
Mhm.
on the guitar work. Uh, yeah, yeah, it's there. It's all there in a bag of spicy chips, if you want to say it that
Yeah.
way.
And it's also one of those albums that have really good opening and closing tracks. Like I said, that opening track does what an opening track should do, and give you immediately a strong idea of what you're in for. And the closing track, which I didn't mention, Your True Enemy, this is the one song that goes actually into psychedelia, 60s psychedelia. It's a
Mm,
bit trippy, it is. And so it fits within the patterns of the album. Like I say, you hear all these influences, but it's not people just um, doing bad representation of those artists. These
mhm,
songs stand on their own. The recording stands on its own. It's almost like someone put an album in the time capsule pod and you just broke it out and listened to it for the first time.
mhm.
So definitely for music lovers of the 60s, for sure. Um, and also for those that aren't, this might be uh, a nice little, again, as you say, a new music introduction to something that's a little bit different than what's out there right now.
Very possibly so. There you go.
Totally.
No, I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. And again, even if this may not even be your kind of music, you have to admire or acknowledge the fact that the musicianship is there.
Yeah,
The chops are there. They have the
yeah,
chops,
they
they
have
have the cunning, they have the the musical intelligentsia
yeah,
to
yeah,
do this
yeah.
masterfully. Okay.
It's a fun album. I would love to be able to see them live, and they are touring.
Yeah. Yeah.
So check their website. You can get this album directly from them. I would imagine if you did it that way, um, more money would go to the band. It's available in, of course, a CD, vinyl, and also cassette.
Yeah, a lot of people, quite a few people are artists now are going the cassette format. You can get the
Yeah,
new Queen 2 reissue on cassette as well.
right.
So yeah, I get that. I get that. And we'll put the link to the website for the band's
Sure.
website in the description below.
Yeah,
And
I'm
now,
really curious to see what they do next
yeah, no,
because I'm really hoping this breaks them out, to a much larger audience, regardless of the small record label that they're on.
yeah.
So,
And I mean, you gotta look at it this way too. This is their seventh album. If you
yeah,
are like 5 albums or more into your career, you're in it for the long haul. You're not in it for the instant gratification of okay,
yeah,
I got a royalty check, I'm done.
yeah,
You're in it for the long haul. So,
yeah.
all right, ladies and gentlemen, there you
There
go,
you
and
have it.
there you have it.
Yeah.
And new album review on the Lemon Twigs with "Look at Your Heart." And yeah, I'm gonna grab a sip of coffee after using the word intelligentsia because that hurt me actually to say that. It's like it wasn't okay. So, anyways, ladies and
You
gentlemen,
peaked.
yeah, whoo, did I ever? Um, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, please check out this album. Let us know what you think of the album in the comments below. We'll put the link to the Bandcamp page and the band's website page so you can get the album either through Bandcamp or through the band's, the Lemon Twigs, directly. And yeah, this is for me a new music discovery. It is a ride, it is a trip back to the '60s. And who knows? You may discover a new group,
Sure.
or you may discover the previous albums that you haven't heard before. So, okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please look after yourselves and one another. I want to thank Ken for this episode, joining me on this episode, and for giving me the idea for this episode. And you can follow us on X. We are now on X. And please click like and subscribe, and do hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content we got coming up. And I will see you soon again on the Music Den. All right, now for more coffee. Have a great day. Bye for now.